Apitam je Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantigam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jatapata Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sate Devi Pranamami Shri Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindhupya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Today we are entering into chapter number 5, remembering Krishna and his associates. What we have read in Krishna trilogy as well as in pages of Srimad Bhagavatam in detail. Now we should remember this is in the Sakyaras. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami summarizes the practice of Raganuga Bhakti in 3 verses. These verses reveal the devotional service presented to world by Srimad Bhagavatam, a presentation that sets the Srimad Bhagavatam apart from all other Vedic literature. Why such brevity? For the most part of the activities of Raganuga Bhakti are the activities of Vaidhi Bhakti, which the Acharya had already described extensively. What sets the two apart is the Raganuga is a mental absorption brought about by the natural eagerness, whereas Vaidhi concentrates on obligatory engagement of the senses. Now, this is positive engagement of the mind. Positive engagement of the mind. Therefore, Rupa Goswami's definition of spontaneous devotion is directed more to the mental state of the practitioner, even more specifically on the absorption in the topics relating to Krishna's Brajalila. The depth of the mental absorption is dependent on the strength of a devotee's greed, which is, as mentioned before, is the qualification for Raganuga Bhakti. That qualification is expressed as follows. Ragatmikaika nishtha ye brajavasi janadayah tesham bhavaptaye labdva bhavit astradhikarvan. That person who is greedy for attaining a bhava similar to the inhabitants of Raja, who themselves are fixed in Ragatmika Bhakti, is a candidate for Ragatmika Bhakti. This is the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, 1st Canto, 2nd chapter, 29th verse. In contrast to a regulated practitioner, inspired by the authority of the scriptures, the Raganuga Sadhaka is inspired to attain the perfection of Vraj Bhakti by an acquired taste for it. We may linken the difference to one child who eats because of his mother's encouragement and another who eats because he has an appetite. What are the actual practices of Raganuga Bhakti? Rupa Goswami says that while living in Vrindavan, a Raganuga devotee regularly hears and chants about the pastimes of Krishna as he is being served by the Vrajavasis, whom the devotee holds dear. Krishnam smaranam janam chasya preshtham nija samhitam tat katha rataschaso Koryad Vasam Vraje Sada. The devotee should always think of Krishna within himself and should choose a very dear devotee who is a servitor of Krishna in Vrindavan. One should constantly engage in the topics about that servitor and his loving relationship with Krishna, and one should live in Vrindavan. If one is physically unable to go to Vrindavan, he should mentally live there. This is also quoted from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, first canto, second chapter, 294th verse. So, wherever you are, you just read or hear Vrindavan pastimes. Beginning, the verse is Krishnam Smaranam. Rupa Goswami indicates that Krishna, and not any of his expansions or incarnation, is the object of raga. This conclusion has already been reached from the very definition of Ragatmika Bhakti, derived from Srimad Bhagavatam's verse beginning with Gopya Kamad, that we heard yesterday, that is described in 7th canto, 1st chapter, 30th verse. Since it is universally accepted as the gopis have kama for only Krishna, this verse confirms that Raganuga Bhakti is to be directed only to him. Yes? Okay. So, only Krishna of Vrindavan is our target. Okay. That's why Shivaram Maharaj also gave the title of his series of, meditations on different pastimes as Krishna in Vrindavan. Attraction for other form of Krishna exists in the residents of Vaikuntha, but because their spontaneity is stunted in the degree by awareness of the Lord's divinity, it is not as pure as raga of the Vrajavasis of Goloka. This is described that here the word pure does not mean freedom from but rather freedom from the knowledge of Krishna's opulence. Pure love in this case means love that is 100% impelled by Krishna's sweetness and not by his greatness. Means Aishwarya, a pradhan attraction of Krishna, is not our target of meditation, but that means outside of Vrindavan is Aishwarya pradhan. In Vrindavan it is Prema pradhan. So attraction from other forms of Krishna exists in residents of Vaikuntha. That means all the avatars, one can meditate on that. Vah Vishnu, what did you do this? But it is awe and reverence only. And awe and reverence is a one-sided attraction and no reciprocation from Lord Vishnu. But the rasas of the attraction in other incarnations are only limited and can be variegated too. But because their spontaneity is turned in the degree of by awareness of Lord Krishna's divinity, it is not as pure as a raga of Vrajavasi of Goloka. Because the Vrajavasi's attraction is not impelled in the list by Krishna's divinity, Srila Prabhupada refers to it as Kevala Bhakti, Kevala Ananda Kanda, Kevala Bhakti. This is Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 3rd chapter, 53rd verse. So, His divine grace also emphasizes the importance of raga to Krishna as follows. When one reaches pure love, one realizes the transcendental form of the Lord as Lord Krishna or Lord Rama, that is Srila Prabhupada's reference to Lord Rama as the object of pure love cannot indicate Lord Ramchandra, as that would be contradictory to his own statements in the purport to 10th canto, 3rd chapter, 31st verse. The love for Lord Rama is mixed with some knowledge of his divinity. It is not Kevala. Therefore, Rama here refers either to Lord Balarama or Lord Krishna as Radha Raman. Can you understand this? Explanation? Srila Prabhupada's reference to Lord Rama as the object of pure love cannot indicate Lord Ramachandra, as that would be contradictory to his own statements in the purport of 10th canto, 3rd chapter, 31st verse. That love for Lord Rama is mixed with some knowledge of his divinity. It is not Kevala. Therefore, Rama here refers either to Lord Balarama or to Lord Krishna as Radha Raman. Radha is the conduit to obtain the loving emotions from the reservoir of Lord Shri Krishna. So, Ramanti Yogina Satyanande Chidatmani iti Rama Pade Nasho Parabrahma Abhidhiyade. Yogis meditate on that Rama Tattva, which Radharani utilizes so to derive all the pleasure and distribute it to others. That is why Radharani is always addressed by her Mula Mantra. Shrim Ram Radhikaya Namaha. When you worship Radharani, for Krishna it is Klim Krishnaya Namaha, but for Radharani is Shrim Ram Radhikaya Namaha. So that is, she is the topmost of yogi who is always absorbed in Rama Tattva. That is the pleasure point, or the pleasure Tattva of Lord Shri Krishna is Ram. Ram indicates Parabrahma. So when in Hare Krishna Mahamantra, when we chant the word Ram, it belongs to either Lord Balaram or Radharaman. And Prabhupada says, that is what is wanted. That is the purport to Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 3rd chapter, 31st verse. Prabhupada says, that is wanted. Absorption in Krishna not only yields the purest form of raga, but is easiest form of absorption to cultivate. Why? Since Krishna is the most attractive of all forms of Godhead, he is like a magnet for devotee's mind. Even demons become absorbed in Krishna and consequently liberated, something that does not happen to demons killed by other incarnations of the Lord. As Varahadev, as Lord Ramchandra, all those Jay and Vijay's incarnation is Hiranaksha, Hiranyakashipu, and Ravan and Kumbhakarna. They were not liberated by respective incarnations. But Krishna gave the final liberation to Shishupal and Dantavakra. Shishupal and Dantavakra. So, more important than what is favorable to devotees, however, is what is favorable to Lord Krishna. Krishna is happiest when treated as an equal or as a subordinate by devotee with pure love. Indeed, he tells Arjuna that he prefers being dependent on even practicing devotees. What then to speak of his Ragatmika Bhaktas? This is also being quoted. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, 26th verse. Yo me bhaktya prayachati tad bhaktim uparatam ashnami prayatatmana. This is the loving exchange he is guaranteeing. No other incarnation has ever told. So much so that the demons whose attention were focused on Krishna due to great animosity quickly achieved a liberation rarely secured by yogis and jnanis. Narad Muni adds, oh sorry, I have been jumping up. Krishna enjoys the greatest pleasure when he can wrestle with his friends, be reprimanded by his mother, or be the target of the gopis' jokes. And the Lord says as much when he reveals his heart to Brajvasis. Yadi vo asti mai pritah slagyah ham bhagavatam yadi Tad atma bandhu sadrashi buddhirvaha priyatam mai. If you love me, and if you regard me as worthy of your praise, then you should consider me as your most intimate friend and relative. This has been spoken in Vishnu Purana, 5th canto, 13th chapter, 11th verse. And corollary, Krishna continues to say, I am neither a god nor a Gandharva, nor a Yaksha, nor a Danava. I'm just your kinsman. So from now on, do not think me. Some disturbance, huh?
When they join, their microphones are on, and some of them forget to put them on.
So let's read again. If you love me, and if you regard me as worthy of your praise, then you should consider me as your most intimate friend and a relative. Krishna continues to say, I'm neither a god, nor a Gandharva, nor a Yaksha, nor a Danava. I'm your kinsman, so from now on, do not think me otherwise. This is also talk and Vishnu Puran, 5th canto, 13th chapter, 12th verse. In conclusion, we may say that because Ragatmika Bhakti to Krishna is the supreme attainment and Krishna's own heartfelt wish, devotion in pursuance of it, Raganuga Bhakti is directed exclusively towards him. By saying Krishna Smaranam, Rupa Goswami further affirms that remembering Krishna is the primary feature of Raganuga Bhakti. Natural attraction is a specific feature of purified mind. For this reason, Raganuga Bhakti is also known as the religion of the mind. Since the very qualification for Raganuga Bhakti is natural affinity, the phrase Krishnam Smaranam is not an injunction to think about Krishna, but rather an encouragement to keep thinking about him. And one should do so in the way learned authorities have taught. For this, it is for this reason that Prabhupada uses the word should, where it otherwise a command. Such meaning would be contrary to the very definition of spontaneous practice. This is also a nice understanding that Jiva Goswami gives this explanation for the use of the word should in the relationship to the spontaneous devotion in Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 1st chapter, 25th verse. 7th canto, 1st chapter. Can anybody bring that? I'm in the book. Because there are more quotations. So the subject matter of 7th canto, most of it is the instruction of Narad Muni to Yudhishthir Maharaj in every aspect. But the first chapter deals with the spontaneous bhakti, Ragatmika Bhakti. Hmm. This chapter is titled, The Supreme Lord is Equal to Everyone. In this chapter, in response to a question by Maharaj Parikshit, Sukadeva Goswami gives his conclusions concerning how the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although the Supersoul, friend and protector of everyone, killed the Daityas, the demons, for the sake of Indra, the king of heaven. In his statements, he totally refutes the argument of people in general who accuse the Supreme Lord of partiality. Sukadeva Goswami proves that because the body of the conditioned soul is infected by the three qualities of nature, dualities arise, such as enmity and friendship, attachment and detachment. For the Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, there are no such dualities. Even eternal time cannot control the activities of the Lord. Eternal time is created by the Lord and it acts under his control. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, therefore, is always transcendental to the influence of the modes of nature, Maya, and the Lord's external energy, which acts in creation and annihilation. Thus, all the demons killed by the Supreme Lord attain salvation immediately. The second question raised by Parikshit Maharaj concerned how Shishupal, although inimical towards Krishna from his very childhood and always blaspheming Krishna, attained salvation in oneness when Krishna killed him. Sukadeva Goswami explains that because of their offenses at the feet of the devotees, two attendants of Lord and Vaikuntha named Jay and Vijay became Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha in Satya Yuga, Ravan and Kumbhakarna in next Yuga, Treta Yuga, Shishupal and Dantavakra in the Dwapar Yuga. Because of their fruitive acts, Jay and Vijay agreed to become Lord's enemies. And when killed in that mentality, they attain salvation in oneness. Thus, even if one thinks of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in envy, he attains salvation. What then is to be said of devotees who are always engaged in the Lord's service with love and faith? So this is the topic. And we will see different understanding of spontaneity and reciprocation of the devotee and of Lord Shri Krishna. So Raganuga Bhakti is also known as the religion of mind. And what Srila Prabhupada is using the word should, it is because Jiva Goswami used the word should instead of would. Would means question mark is there, but that is anticipated. But should means must. It means it's a definitive expression. So Krishna is not different from the thoughts of his name, qualities, or form. Therefore, the sadhaka who is intensely absorbed in the Lord becomes purified of the material contamination, matures in absorption, and attains pure love. Krishna is in ultimate transcendental touchstone, whosoever contacts him becomes transformed. The potency of spontaneous absorption is exemplified by the story of the grass worm that has been confined in a vast layer to be eaten later. By thinking, the grass worm means probably silkworm, who meditates and transforms. Uh-huh. It is said in Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 1st chapter, 29th and 28th and 29th verses. This explanation of the grass worm becomes the butterfly, and is being controlled within the cocoon, but thinks of himself and manifest the way he wanted, so he can be liberated from the cocoon woven by himself. He eats and liberates himself like that. So the potency of spontaneous absorption is exemplified the story of the grass worm that has been confined in the wasp layer to be eaten there. That is also another talk, that the web which has been built by the wasp, it is to catch the grass worm for the purpose of being devoured by the wasp. By thinking of the bee in fear of enmity, the grass worm becomes a wasp in the next life. What then can be said to be practitioner of absorbed in the thought of Krishna? He quickly attains his desired perfection. Sri Narad therefore says, Tasmat kenapi upayena mana Krishne niveshet. Somehow or another, one must consider the form of Krishna very seriously. The phrase somehow or other means by one of the four moods of devotion appropriate to the practitioner. Means servitorship, friendship, paternal, or conjugal. Absorption rising from spontaneous emotion is more intense than that which is achieved through regulative devotion. So much so that the demons whose attention were focused on Krishna due to great animosity quickly achieves a liberation rarely secured by the yogis and jnanis. So Narad Muni adds that even regulated devotees who try to progress through the 5 stages of remembrance cannot manage the intensity of absorption displayed by the demons like Shishupal. This is another quote. It is said that Srila Prabhupada is describing the 5 stages of remembrance in this way: recollection, absorption, meditation, constant remembrance, and trance are the 5 items of progressive Krishna Smarana. At first, remembrance of Krishna may be interrupted at intervals, but later remembrance proceeds uninterrupted. When remembrance is uninterrupted, it becomes concentrated, and it's called meditation. When meditation expands and becomes constant, it is called anusmriti. By uninterrupted and unceasing anusmriti, one enters the stage of samadhi or the spiritual trance. This is in the purport of Nectar of Instruction, 8th verse. So, even regulated devotees who try to progress through the 5 stages of remembrance can manage the intensity of absorption displayed by demons like Shishupal. So this is the gradual. Prabhupada says that meditation leads to anusmruti. Anusmruti means smruti after smruti, continuing is anusmruti. And that helps to enter into samadhi. If you try to sit down and contemplate on one object, but this contemplation may not last long. You have to practice and continuing through the remembrance of Lord Krishna, that is anusmruti, by hook or crook you remember Krishna. So anusmruti will lead to the trance. Therefore, in the matter of bringing the practitioner to the stage of ecstasy, spontaneous devotion is more powerful and more expeditious than regulated devotion. Narad Muni is an example of regulated devotee who dedicated his whole life to Vaidhi Bhakti before he being rewarded with raga. In other words, his progress was gradual. Jiva Goswami says it is a great wonder that that which is achieved after a long time with great endeavor through the path of Vaidhi Bhakti is quickly achieved simply through a specific internal feeling, that is bhava, including even animosity. This is also described in Bhakti Sandarbha by Jiva Goswami, 323rd verse. It should be noted that while animosity of the demons is an effective cause of absorption as well as of liberation, it does not qualify as spontaneous devotion. Why? Because the definition, pure devotion, is based on the moods and acts that are favorable to Krishna. Anukulyena Krishnanushilanam Bhaktiruttama. So, it is Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, first canto, first chapter, 11th verse. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadhanavratam anukulyena krishnanushilanam bhaktiruttama. This is anukulyena krishnanushilanam. The one which helps us to bring us to anusmriti, that is very, very favorable and is the fruit of devotional service, pure devotional service. Krishna is never alone. He is always in the company of his beloved ones. And as he is the object of raga, so the Vrajavasis are his shelters. Therefore, a devotee drawn to the ways of Vraja should take shelter of the Vrajavasis of his choice and remember the ways in which that Vrajavasi serves Krishna. Ashta Sakhis are also Vrajavasis. And Rupa Goswami is also a Vrajavasi because Rupa Goswami is which Manjari? Rupa Manjari. So this is Brijvasi, and their spirit has to be adopted. Otherwise, it is difficult to find Brijvasis. You have been given and you still forget that these are Brijvasis. This is called Brijvasi. People are still trying to find out physically the Brijvasis. It will be very rare. Most of the influence in Vrindavan is Mayavadi. And Srila Prabhupada's activity was appreciated only by Radharaman Goswamis. Very few are coming closer. And you see, Goswamis of Radha Damodar, they appreciate Srila Prabhupada in glorification only. But we know how the devotees were treated as far as Prabhupada's rooms and other things are concerned. Right? So, Brajvasis are to be understood, and we can be friendly to everybody of this, but we cannot associate deeply with them. Srila Prabhupada translates the word Prashtanam Nija Samihitam in two ways: following in the footsteps of such associates, and should choose a very dear devotee who is the servitor of Krishna in Vrindavan. That is the Brijavasi. And the previous quote that came from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Anukulyena Krishna Anushilam, it's from the next Nectar of Instructions, purport 2, verse number 8. The later Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, 22nd chapter, 160, verse 160. The first version connects the practitioner to one of the four kinds of Ragatmika devotees, while the second connects the practitioner to specific devotee in one of the four categories. Considering these two transitions, the first is generic and the second is specific. That is, when we are told that we have to follow in the footsteps of such associates, and the second thing, that they should also choose very dear devotee who is the reservoir of Krishna in Vrindavan, servitor of Lord Krishna in Vrindavan. So out of that, first version, that is the following in the footsteps of associates, it means the practitioner to one of the four kinds of Ragatmika devotees. One of the four kinds of Ragatmika devotees in four different moods. And you have to select one. But second one is that we should choose a very dear devotee who is servitor of Krishna in Vrindavan. So, when the practitioner is to specific devotee that we choose, these four categories, the first one is said to be generic, but the other one is considered as specific. One way in which the two may put in the practice is for devotees who are attracted to Braj Bhakti to first decide which of the four kinds of devotees they are attracted to, and then by hearing of the services of those associates, decide with the particular associate service most attracts them, following naturally ensues. This is also explained that alternative practice that are two translations indicate is to either directly follow one of the four kinds of devotees or to directly follow one associate. In the context of how Srila Prabhupada translates the next verse, Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, first canto, second chapter, 295th verse, and the general teachings of Raganuga Bhakti, the first alternative practice will naturally lead to second. And the second alternative is characteristic of a devotee who, upon first hearing of Brajvasis, is immediately attracted to having the mood and service of one specific devotee. First you hear Shravanadasha, then you choose Varanadasha. So this is the second stage in making a progress of a specific devotee. So this is described. Alternative practice that these two translations indicate is to either directly follow one of the four devotees, four kinds of devotees, or to directly follow one associate. In the context of how Srila Prabhupada translates the next verse of Bhakti Sindhu, first canto, second chapter, 295th verse, and general teachings of Ragatmika Bhakti, the first alternative practice will naturally lead into second. So even though you enter into a category of a devotee and choose one of the four categories, or you choose one, the one will be also coming in one of the categories. So either you choose means Varan, Dasha, that you want to follow in the tutelage of the eternal associates or those who are practitioners, like that. If you hear from the first, the hearing of the Brajavasis, plural, then you will be immediately attracted to having one for the mood and service of that specific devotee. This is Varanadasha coming. The first version that says, that is the generic, and second version is specific. You mean generic means you have to choose from four, and if you are attracted to one specific, one of the four category will be automatically coming in, right? One way in which two may be put into practice is for devotees who are attracted to Braj Bhakti to the first decide which of the four kinds of devotees they are attracted to, and then by hearing of the services of those associates decide which particular associate service most attracts them. Following naturally ensues. Srila Prabhupada and his predecessors warned that practicing devotees should aspire for a mood and service of that of their role model and not for position of service of Krishna's associates. Role model. Who is the live role model in front of us? Who else can be Srila Prabhupada? Who else? All right. So we should adopt his mood and mission. Jiva Goswami explains in the example of one inspired by Subala of the two kinds of identification. I am different from Subala, but yearn for service like his. And I am Subala. The second is unsuitable. I become Subala. Oh no, I want to follow Subala and adopt the service like him. So the second, that is, I am Subala, is unsuitable, meaning the self-identification with one of Krishna's eternal associate will ruin one's chances for devotional service. There are many practitioners of Sahajiya mentality that wants to imitate what is the dress, which color the dress Radharani is wearing today? I will also come in similar color, just to accompany her. Instead of absorbing the character of one of the Yutheshwaris. Even in Mayapur, they try to dress all the Sakhis also in the similar color, but nonetheless they are distinguishable from each other. They are not identical. When we dress, So is it necessary that in generalized three altars, Gaur-Nitai, Radha Krishna, or Krishna Balaram, Jagannath Subhadra, everyone should have only matching outfit? If everything is monotonous, then the mood, even though unfitting, Nadia pastimes, Vrindavan pastimes, and Dwarka pastimes of Jagannath Puri, they will naturally have some differences. So anyway, that depends upon the mood of the main pujari.
Sometimes they do it with backdrops.
Yeah,
Backdropping.
yeah, even the backdrops are all identical.
Yeah, now some of the hand painted ones are.
Yes. So anyway,
They've got those printed ones.
otherwise the altar will look completely different, but naturally it should create different moods of these different pastimes. Jagannath Puri pastimes are different. Vrindavan pastimes are different. Nadia pastimes are different. But they should have the understanding of the tattva should be one, but the pastimes are variegated. When we say, Prabhupada said there is no difference between Radha Krishna pastimes in Vrindavan and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. There is no difference. But yes, that is the esoteric meaning, that it should be identical. But how would you reflect? How would you reflect? Every leadership of spontaneous devotional service attached to Lord Shri Krishna has a different mood and mission. You know, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is preaching, chanting the holy name. So we try to maintain certain distinguishable features, even though they may be of even identical color, but yet there should be quite distinguishable, mood.
Yeah, they do that mostly with like sometimes Gonitai have cartels or
Yes,
things like that. And
yes.
Krishna Balaram has this
Plow and
the cows beside them.
right. So when we have difficulty to meditate on one, then how can you meditate on others? Everybody in Vrindavan are clustered around Radha Shyam Sundar altar only.
Outside of that.
Everywhere. And there is more rush on Radha Shyam Sundar than Gornitas. But then they have to be very, very careful to understand the spontaneity. But they don't stick around them for a long time. They are there first to have darshan of Radha Shyam Sundar. But we are taught first Gaur-Nitai, then approach Krishna Balaram, and then approach Radha Shyam Sundar. Krishna Balaram is not in conjugal mood. This is fraternity, right? And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in servitorship. Radha Shyam Sundar is in conjugal. So it is too difficult to equate them simply by color. They must have their, meditative approaches according to the development of the spontaneous devotional service. Srila Prabhupada and his predecessors warned that practicing devotees should aspire for a mood and service like that of their role model and not for position and service of Krishna's associate. Again, Jiva Goswami explains that in an example of one inspired by Subala, of the two kinds of identification. I am different from Subala, but yearn for the service like this, and I am Subala. The second is unsuitable. So, meaning self-identification with one of the Krishna's eternal associate will ruin one's chance for devotional service. Srila Prabhupada explains further that there is every chance that such misidentification will degrade into out and out Mayavad thinking. More shall be said of this pitfall later. And this is the situation that what Srila Prabhupada is warning. It says in Nectar of Devotion, chapter number 16. And Jiva Goswami's explanation has been also taken from Durgama Sangamani Tika to Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, first canto, second chapter, 306th verse. Jiva Goswami is putting up a cutting edge so we can continue this tomorrow. It is still a bit of an intensifying session. We can think, contemplate, and ask pertinent questions to clarify more and more. Hello, hello, hello. You are all meditating. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Glory to Prabhupada.
Maharaj, so just going through what we are learning here. So in terms of our, once we come to that platform, so we first meditate on the type of service that we want to render to Krishna, and then figure out the devotee under whose tutelage we want to serve, and then follow in that mood. Is that what is being prescribed here?
Naturally, this is Varanadasha. We can't imitate or create a choice of our own. Our foundation should be very strong in following in the footsteps of spiritual master, who is exposing us to Lord Shri Krishna and his eternal associates. But at the same time, we have been also instructed by the exemplification of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who brought the transcendental loving devotional service as a science to be practiced. And all his associates were eternally liberated people. Here, like Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, we cannot imitate them, but we can follow in the footsteps of their understanding. Right? And the examples are there. If you want to follow Subala, because of such character is attracting you, fine. But you cannot become Subala. You can't replace Subala by following Subala.
Yes.
The person who we are attracted to follow is our Rag Pradarshak Guru. Not Path Pradarshak, but Raga, attachment. Every individual has a different degree of attachment, but what degree a person exhibits and you are being comfortable with it, then you accept that tutelage.
Sure, Maharaj.
Yeah.
Maharaj, just one more clarification. For example, in Chaitanya Leela, we see how Murari Gupta is very much in the mood of service to Lord Rama. And
Yes.
that is it. So, in that sense, then that do we understand that that does not translate to Ragatmika Bhakti, because Ragatmika Bhakti is followed by one of the Vrajavasis, or the mood of one of the Vrajavasis?
No. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was insistingly telling Murari Gupta to chant Hare Krishna. But he was not able to chant Hare Krishna throughout the night. And next day when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired, he was crying a lot, So his attachment to Lord Ramchandra in the servitorship was okay. But nonetheless, just like Hanuman and others, they are spontaneous devotees in servitorship. That is available.
Okay.
So, may not be the highest of Raganuga of gopis, but here we are supposed to follow in the footsteps of gopis. So we have to choose not the gopas, but gopis.
Yes, Maharaj.
You follow my point?
Yes, Maharaj.
So
Yes.
it becomes quite, interesting. Any other question, comments?
Thank you, Maharaj.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. Can you hear me, Guru Maharaj?
Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Oh, thank you, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. Guru Maharaj, thank you so much for these classes. Now, from today's, I understand the Raganuga and Ragatmika, the mood which one we have to develop while we are continuing our sadhana bhakti. Now, one question arises, just continuing from Vedavyasapriya Prabhu's question, that here all the descriptions are from the residents of Goloka. But we also know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu descended here, and then he performed his pastime, which depicts even the higher realm of our practicing the pure bhakti. And when it comes to the raga, now if you see, even Chaitanya Leela also teaches us how do we develop that raga rati to the pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Now, if we are having any attachment to the any particular personality in Chaitanya Leela, who of course they have their original positions in Goloka, is that also considered as the Raganuga, or should it be only the original the personalities in the Goloka pastimes?
There is no difference. The Sankirtan movement or Sankirtan pastimes, where distribution, where leading Kirtan parties, everything is, Sankirtan. And the mood of Sankirtan is congregational. Congregational you cannot do alone, but you do in connection or in association with a devotee. So we should become attached to the resolve and services rendered in a spontaneous way. If we follow that, if we follow Srila Prabhupada, okay, in the mood that he adapted to serve, and he expresses, then it becomes, we have to attach to that personality of Srila Prabhupada, and carry out that ragatmika bhakti, which is pleasing to not only to Krishna, but also his pure devotees all over the world.
Yes,
Sankirtan Leela and Krishna Leela are both on identical platform. So we will have our own attachment. Okay. But that leads to Krishna's attachment, because there is no difference. By actively performing Sankirtan Leela, then we can also enter into the mood of Rasa Leela, but with proper attitude and following. You are not there alone. Krishna is with many. If you think you are alone and Krishna is dancing with you alone, that is displeasing to Lord Shri Krishna, and he will disappear to intensify your, attachment to him.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Bol.
Gurudev, in regards to our inclination to choose a devotee to whom we feel inclined, how do we differentiate if that inclination is natural or is it on the mundane platform?
That we studied, that even though we are not purified, but we have inclination for such following, right? So more we chant, more we purify, more we try to do, unmotivated and uncontaminated devotional service. To that degree, we will be entering into the, spontaneous love. But otherwise, it is so superficial. We have to open the lid of the jar of honey. Don't lick outside. Right?
Yes,
so we have to enter into the subject matter deeply, understand the mechanism, and follow.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Haribol. Jai.
The trial and error process.
Yes, you are coming closer. It is a trial and error method under the guidance of the Guru, where there is contradiction in our approach, and requirements are something else, then naturally it is unfitting, uncongenial situation. So you can try with other similar or whichever comes closer to the service attitude that you can follow.
But in the meantime, we should just hear, right?
Yeah,
We shouldn't
you
try to
should
force it.
you should look into the glorification of other services, so you will be able to know. Yeah, it's good practice to check in the services of even our predecessor acharyas and their mood and mission. We have to understand our God brothers who might be, advanced, and how much they contributed in the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada. Yadyadacharati sreshta tatta eve taro janah sayat pramanam kurute lokastadanu vartate. Whatever a great man does, common men follow, right? But whether they are following is qualified or unqualified, that if one does not progress, one is in a stagnant relation, means he is doing only one-way track. Haribol.
Then should put in the writing.
Trial is motivating.
Error is scary.
And the error in it is very scary. Yeah, but you are not going to start from the one. Wherever you are, having some misunderstandings, that can be corrected. So the spiritual master tells you, oh, your mood is not fitting Chitra Devi. You better concentrate on Vishaka or some other left-wing gopis. Like that. Anything else?
Oh, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
One from Janeshwar and one from Anandaman.
Please pray for us, Guru Maharaj, so that we are under your guidance always. I will try to guide you. Okay? That's the promise. I think for me, it will take many, many births to achieve Krishna Prema. If you desire that way, but if you desire other way, you may practice faster. Don't give up, Anandmoy Prabhu. Just remain careful, that's all.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very good.
Tell us, Swami.
Haribal.
Haribol Guru Maharaj, please, my humble obeisances. Just want to ask like question Annamoya Prabhu asked. You said not careful. So what we have to careful so we'll not fall down, Guru Maharaj?
No, careful about our regulated practice. We are not sadhana siddha right now.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yeah.
let's chant our rounds very faithfully and follow for regulative principles. Certainly, it will liberate us. From liberation point, only para bhakti is available. So you can't think after when you enter into para bhakti that, it will not be possible for you. No.
So Srila Prabhupada is a best role model for us.
That's correct.
Just simply stick on his instruction. It will take from
Yes.
Vidhi Bhakti to
Right.
Radha Mukha Bhakti. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Just want to clear.
Why
Thank
do
you.
we
Hare
go away and to look for somewhere in the pages of the books, and we may not have met or experienced such devotees?
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Vidyalala.
Haribol Gurudev, I still have some more clarifications to ask you about. Regarding our inclinations for some services. So, for example, if we have some services right now, but we are not really like we have inclination for some services, but we don't really know if it's pure, it's pure on the mundane platform, but we should focus on chanting because right now we should do Chaito Darpana Marjanam, right? And as we'll keep on chanting faithfully, as you just said, then slowly with time, if those services, the inclination that we have, if those keep getting intensified or strengthened, our attraction for them, so does that mean we would be on the right path?
Say, Adav Shraddha Tato Sadhu Sangha Atha Bhajana Kriya Atha Anartha Nivrittisha Tato Nishtha Ruchi Asakti Bhavan Prem. And at all these different stages, you have different kind of associations. You are not doing alone. So, to follow in the footsteps of a regulated bhakti of the devotees, it is a stepping stone for getting into the spontaneous bhakti. There is, that is available. Those who are not much attached to the material world, that means they are free and muktas in that reciprocation. And that much will be available in proportion. But you must become like a madhukar, like a bumblebee, collect honey and concentrate, collect honey and concentrate. What they suck is not very, very concentrated. But
So we should hear
together.
and chant more. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Haribol. Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Guru and Dandavat Pranam. I'm still not too clear about this Murari Gupta's situation because I feel that we all know, not that I feel, that Hanumanji is the Dasya Bhav, is the epitome of Dasya Bhav. And one of the mood he is serving Lord Ram is also Krishna. So
even Lakshmana worshipped in Dasya Bhav. Even everyone was in a Dasya Bhav.
so he's not considered, still not considered the Ragatmika category then?
No, Ragatmika is there. You know, in Dasya Bhav, it is there. But the what we call the intensity in servitorship can be also developed according to who is your ideal to follow. If Hanuman is your ideal, fine. Chant Hare Krishna and intensify your performance of serving without any reservation. Anya vilashita shunyam jnana karmadhanavritam anukullena krishnanushalanam bhakti ruttama. Perform the best of your devotional services for the pleasure of Lord Krishna.
So Murari Gupta, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Murari Gupta was attached to Lord Ramchandra. And of course, there is spontaneous devotion to Lord Ram and servitorship. But beyond the servitorship is fraternal, then maternal, and conjugal.
We have to progress, yeah, from that Madhurya, yes.
So the highest reciprocation and qualification of gopis, they must be adapted. So you must have Yutheshwari. Why do you have to target the other relations which are not confined? Ultimately, you have to transcend even the Dasya Bhav to Sakhya Bhav and Sakhya Bhav.
Yes.
Vatsalya and Vatsalya to Madhurya.
To Madhurya. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Close to
I don't understand this question.
So does Raganuga Bhakti applies to all Mukhya Rasas, Guru Maharaj? Yes, of course.
But Mukhya Rasa includes also Shanta, doesn't it?
Yeah, Mukhya Rasa is there, but why only Mukhya Rasa? Then you will not be able to include Bhishma Pitama and Krishna's interactions. That is Shaurya Ras. Of course, it's Gauna Ras. Mukhya Ras means they are the most relishing rasas. And general practitioners can be attracted by one of the five. Okay? Hello.
Okay, Guru.
Okay, Haribol.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.